Okay, welcome to everyone. I'm Giancarlo Mauri, I'm Director of the Department of Informatics Systems and Communication of the University of Milano Bicocca and Chair of the CiE conference. This is the official opening of both the conferences CIE and CiE, and it's my pleasure to introduce you Professor Francesco Archetti, which is the Prorector and Delegated Director for Research Activities.
Okay, thank you. Working? Better. Okay, great. Thank you for being here. The university is proud of hosting these two meetings, and I think that Giancarlo and Paola really did a wonderful job in bringing such a distinguished group of scholars and young scientists here. And just let me allow one specific remark that I did my homework. Giancarlo invited me to go through the program, the scientific program, and I spotted at least some titles. I am not entirely remote from this field, and so I will, just a few remarks. First of all, it looks like what once regarded as a preserve of long-term, or even very long-time term, blue sky research is now, at least it seems to me, gone in some sense into the core of industrial development as well. I've seen that there are topics in your list like game theory, algorithmic game theory, optimization, and game theory. And you know that now major players like Google, Yahoo, or Microsoft itself are really using tools from some of your topics into the mechanistic design of their most competitive core business system. Think of all the role that game theory is playing in the auctions. And so this is the first important remark. What was once the preserve of long-term research is now playing an increasingly important role in the industrial and business domain as well. The second point is that I say, viewing the same topic from the point of view of social innovation. We can call it in different ways. We can call it, social problem solving rather than, wisdom of the crowds. But anyway, we are dealing. And we must learn to reason and to decide in a connected world. And I've seen that, again, collective intelligence and collective decision-makings are high in the list of your topics. And in a sense, I think that we are really witnessing not just one more change in the scientific methods, but we're really seeing the emergence of new paradigms, which are in science, which are in industry, and which are in social innovation. And I really think that the topics that you are discussing, that you will be discussing in these 3 days, are really the signposts of the new mathematics and the new computer science that we really need to understand this brave new world. So it's really a major revolution underway, and I think that meetings like this are playing a significant role in this revolution of our scientific paradigms. So again, I thank you for being here. And I wish you not only nice days of work, but also a nice day in Milan. Thank you.
Okay. So now I will introduce the UCNC conference, Unconventional Computation and Network Computation, which is co-located with Computability in Europe and has some satellite workshops. The Cosmos workshop that started this morning at 9:30, and Italian workshop on artificial life and evolutionary computation. They started also today, and Biochem IT that will take place on Friday. Okay, UCNC covers a range of topics that includes all areas of unconventional computation, network computing, so as quantum, cellular, molecular, neural, DNA, membrane, and evolutionary computing, and also hypercomputation and relativistic, optical, heterotic, both from the theoretical and experimental point of view. This is part of a series of conferences, and the co-chairs of the steering committee of the UCNC are Jarko Kari and Natasha Ionoska. Jarko Kari could not come, and Natasha will come this afternoon, so I will give a short description of the series. The scope, you have seen what is the scope of the series, and this is this edition comes after the edition in Orléans in France the past year, while the first UC was called, this is a UCNC since 2 years. Before it was unconventional models of computation and then unconventional computation. The first edition was in Auckland in New Zealand in 1998. Okay, here is the steering committee of the series. We have this year we had 42 submissions, and 21 were selected for the proceedings of the conference. Okay, I hope you will enjoy not only UCNC but both the cluster of events that we will have here in this week, UCNC and its associated workshops, and CiE and the special session that we'll introduce it now. Okay. By Benedict Löwe.
Thank you very much, Giancarlo. I'm actually not going to introduce the talks and the special sessions, because that's for the chair of the program committee to do. First of all, let me say that it's a great honor and pleasure to be here involved in this opening ceremony of the 9th Conference for Computability in Europe and the second one in Italy. So after Amsterdam 2005, Swansea 2006, Siena 2007, Athens 2008, Heidelberg 2009, Ponta Delgada 2010, Sofia 2011, and Cambridge 2012. We are now here back in Italy. The location is very fitting because this university is the home institution of some of the key figures in the Computability in Europe movement, for example, Paola and Giancarlo. So we are very happy to be here this year. In 2005 at Amsterdam, I was the main organizer of this conference, and it was somehow natural that the person who organized the first conference would become the coordinator of the conference series that came out of it. At the danger of repeating something that I've said at similar occasions before, let me just stress that when we organized CiE 2005, we did not intend it to become a series. And actually, we did not even intend it to be a conference. Back then, CiE was a research training network for PhD students and postdocs, and we had just received the bad news that we didn't get funding from the European Commission. And we wanted to have a meeting of the coordinators in Amsterdam in order to discuss the strategy of how to continue with this. And I think the credit goes to Barry Cooper, who's sitting here, who said, having a meeting where we just discuss proposals is boring, and we should also have talks. So we decided to have some invited talks, and then he said we should also allow the young people to give talks. And we decided to have contributed talks. And we were completely overwhelmed by the interest of the community in this. We had, in the end, 200 participants in a meeting that originally was supposed to be a meeting of 11 node coordinators. There were several reasons why the series became a series. One of them was actually that when we received the copies of our book by Springer, it read on the title page, New Computational Paradigms, linking to what the prorector just said, New Computational Paradigms, first conference on computability in Europe. So someone had decided for us that this should become a series. Since then, CiE got involved in many things. We have formed an association, we have started a book series, we have started a journal. CiE conferences have co-located sometimes with other conferences. For example, we had co-locations with CCA in 2007 and 2012. But normally when we say the word co-location, we mean the same place. What we are doing this year is something rather experimental, I should say, because this co-location is not only the same place, it is the same place and the same time. So this means really two conferences in the same time slot where those talks that are of interest to both communities are joined, those sessions that are of interest to both communities are joined. I think this is really an experiment. It is an experiment that may actually work very well for a conference that broad and interdisciplinary as CiE. It is this experimental spirit that is very defining for CiE. And it is very nice that CiE has always been trying to reinvent itself and find new ways of dealing with the unusual conglomerate of areas that are part of CiE. I think it's very important that this spirit of experimentation will continue, and we have to fight the dangers of routine and fossilization. And actually, given the dangers of fossilization, I'm probably the biggest liability because I have been involved with it since the beginning, and that means that routine is something that I'm carrying with me in my personality now. So this is why it is with a strange mixture of sadness, relief, trepidation, and excitement that I will be here for the last time as the chair of the steering committee opening such a conference, and we will have a very worthy and promising successor who will receive the task to take this on in future years at the AGM of the Association CiE on Thursday. So I should also tell you that you are all very welcome to attend the AGM and be part of the discussions about the future of CiE. Well, in the name of the steering committee of the CiE conference series, I welcome you very to this conference here in Milano, and I would like to hand over to the chair of one of the two chairs of the program committee now, Vasco Brodka, who is a professor of computer science at the University of the Armed Forces in Munich, and will tell you something about the program.
Okay, Okay, it's my great pleasure to welcome you here on behalf of the Program Committee of CiE 2013. And I think this is a good occasion to thank the Program Committee for its work. So together with Paola, we have organized this Program Committee. The first task of the Program Committee was to select the plenary speakers. As you know, there are 6 plenary speakers, 2 of them jointly with UC and CiE. We have also 6 special sessions organized by separate special session organizers, some very interesting special sessions at this conference. But the main task of the Program Committee was, of course, to select the papers which are presented here. So we had 82 regular submissions, 30%, roughly 32% of which have been selected for the LNCS proceedings. You see them in the booklet. I don't have to mention them all here. But of course, we also have handled a lot of very interesting and good informal presentations that are scheduled here at this conference. So altogether, we had about 159 papers to handle, and there were about 180 sub-reviewers involved in the evaluation of all these papers. So the Program Committee has really done an excellent job in organizing all this. So I would like to thank all our colleagues and the sub-reviewers for this excellent work. Okay, so another very honorable thing the Program Committee had to do. Program Committee had to select papers for the Best Paper Awards. And this year we have 2 Best Paper Awards. The first one for the best student papers among all the regularly submitted papers. And this Best Student Paper Award goes to Nicolas de Rugy-Anter for his paper Determinant versus Permanent Salvation via Generalization. So you should know when the talk is actually taking place. You see it in the schedule, but I mentioned it here for you. It's on Thursday at 2:30 in the venue U6. Now this year the theme of CiE 2013 is the nature of computation. So we have a second Best Paper Award for the Best Paper on Natural Computing this year, which goes to a paper of 3 authors, Shankara Narayan Krishna, Marian Gork, and Cyprian Dragomir, for their paper, Some Classes of Generalized Communicating P-Systems and Simple Kernel P-Systems. It's going to be presented on Friday at 2:30, also in the venue U6. Now I'm running already out of time, but the last thing I would like to mention here is that this year we are not going to have any special issues for CiE 2013, as it has been the case in previous years. But we would like to highlight the journal of the association CiE, Computability. So all authors and all participants of actually both conferences are invited to submit papers to this journal. So basically it's open to everybody for papers to be submitted. And we would in particularly like to see papers from our participants at CiE 2013, of course, because we want to establish this journal as the journal of the association CiE. So far we haven't covered all the topics in the scope of CiE in the first 2 issues of the journal. So this is merely impossible with only 10 papers or so. So don't take the 2 first issues as the defining issues, but with further submissions that we will receive in the near future, the scope of this journal will still be formed. So please consider it seriously to submit a paper. Will be regularly reviewed, so there will be no bonus or benefit for papers that have been presented at the conference. It will be a regular journal submission.